I played mechanically bad to the point where that's why I got dove.
Yeah.
I think it just happened because we didn't play around it as a team properly. So my individual performance.
Mickey.
I think mad is overrated.
You think mad is overrated?
And
Do you want to
BDS,
say that one more time? Hold
BDS
on.
as well.
Hold on. Can you please? I'll Google. I'm gonna deep L that and put that in Spanish. Can you repeat that?
No, I can do it in Spanish. Don't worry. Okay.
Welcome everyone to episode 7 of the EUphoria podcast. Right before Spring Week 2, we're available as always on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube.
This week we had Mikyx and Wunder on, and we got a chance to shit on Smolder. We got to talk about the pre-recorded drafts, and also then got a little bit of their insight on a couple of different teams, including a sneak peek at their matchup for this upcoming weekend.
Spoiler, Wunder not a fan of Spanish teams or French teams other than his own. So tune in. You can check it out. Let's get things kicked off. Welcome, boys. Thanks for being here this early in the morning.
Yeah.
Problem.
I was not forced to be here, guys. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah.
You reached out to us.
Yeah. You
So
actually
enthusiastically.
asked to come on the podcast.
It's been so long since I did Euphoria.
You just wanted
Why
to be
don't
here.
you just invite me again, even though I'm irrelevant and not.
Well,
You're not though.
Not that
I
good.
mean,
I'm not
come
ambitious.
on, you're not. Yeah, come on.
Not that
You're
good.
bad. You're just like really washed. Yeah. Actually.
Washed. I guess that's a better word.
Yeah.
For it. The more commonly used word for me
Yeah.
to describe how good I am.
Well, Mickey's really good, and you guys used to be teammates, so we wanted Mickey to have a friend. So you're kind of like,
no problem.
Wait, why are you saying no problem? I'm here for you.
I'm getting you there.
Oh yeah. Okay.
For you being.
it's about lifting each other up, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Mickey said he wouldn't come if you didn't also, join, and you had asked so many times that I thought, we should just invite you in.
Wow, that's so wholesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
This feels ruthless now. I feel like we've gone too deep. Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks for waking up so early. Off days, I feel like, are always mixed bag. I feel like it used to be back in the day in the old format that I would get more interesting stories about off days. You guys would go out on the last night, but I feel like with the one off day, most teams are doing, it's less. Maybe a little anime, a little whatever. Did you do anything interesting on your off? You
Played some solo queue.
hell yeah.
Did I play solo queue?
Ooh.
Yeah. Who knows?
Do you still?
I didn't. Okay, apparently I didn't play solo queue on my hidden account that Mickey has. So we'll see if he's right or not.
In the interest of keeping the narratives up to date, are you playing WoW? We need to know because we run out of things to reference when you're.
A little bit, but not. I don't have a raid time. I'm just like casually playing.
You're not like
Whenever
playing
I'm like
classic hardcore or anything.
No, I'm playing like the Season of Discovery one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Season 11 we had like his raids on schedule every Thursday at
But that was not my idea. That was
I know,
Scraps.
but we just had it.
Yeah.
So that was funny.
We did have that. Yeah.
Wait. So you guys would stop down scrims, or you guys would
No.
cut your block short?
But like, I guess we couldn't do anything else at that period.
Yeah, it was. No, but scrims were usually over.
Yeah, they were over before that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
like
just
9
had
PM
them
or
for
something.
fun. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I'm no judgment. I mean, you guys were winning enough. It's like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
21.
what is it?
Not
What was
in
like? There's like the
21.
Korean adage, like if you win or
regular
whatever,
scrims.
you can get a girlfriend. Wonders like if you win, we can put your raids on the scrim schedule and you can play WoW. My man's got his priorities sorted.
Yeah. I
Makes
think it was
sense.
after we left Spring, right?
That was good old times. Yeah, it was after we lost Spring.
Oh,
Oh, actually, yeah, we had solo queue hours.
Yeah, we had the solo queue hours.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Good old times.
the grin and the like putting your head in your hands
old
makes me
times.
think it might not have been the good old times.
That was the good old times.
Well, hopefully this last week was a good old time. I didn't enjoy this week of casting, so I don't know how you felt this week playing. And not just because I cast multiple Rogue games. Sorry, Rogue. Smolder ruined week 1 for me, boys. I'm going to put it out there. This champion is so broken. It's an obvious kind of statement at this point, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I liked having Smolder.
Oh yeah, you liked having Smolder? Yeah, I bet you did. Do you think like how did like Smolder existing in this first week affect? Do you think like results, expectations? 'Cause we're gonna talk about the teams later. I don't know if I should look at like Smolder games and be like, that win counts. What a great team. They stalled for 20 minutes and Smolder won the game. Or if I should be like, yeah, it's a good strategy. They're recognizing what's OP, blah, blah, blah. Like, how do you guys feel about?
I appreciate the photons doing work and bringing the KDA back down.
Yeah,
That was
thank
really
God.
nice of them.
Oh, the
Thank
top
God.
lane, the top lane
Yeah.
Smolder. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Ghost? Yeah, the Ghost, right?
Yeah, Ghost against Volibear. Yeah, it looked really really useless. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you can actually. You can win against it though. Like, I mean, we played one game with Smolder and one game against it.
Yeah.
And the game we played against it, I mean, we almost got Soul, and I think if we got Soul, maybe like ace to 1 team fight, we could have won, right? But the issue is if you don't actually manage to get the Soul before she gets the stacks, or he gets the stacks, and you then also lose the team fight. Like, I think once you lose like the first big team fight, the game just kind of like, I mean, it just gets harder and harder to play. And yeah, I mean, there's champions like that just like outscale you, right? But this is just like one champion alone. I think it doesn't really matter almost what champs you have around it. It's just like you will just get outscaled just because of that one champion alone. And yeah, that's probably not like too healthy for, I guess, the game.
Does it feel similar to like Zwyroo when she was really, really broken? Or is it like even more, does it feel even stronger than that? Because I think that like, for me, when you look at this pick, it just goes from like 0 to 100 and you don't see it do anything at all. And then suddenly it's winning the game, right? So it feels a little bit like it's easier to see than I think Zwyroo was in like when it comes online, when it's broken, whereas like you can always say like, oh, 80 carry 3 items, whatever. Like a Zwyroo still had to have like hands a little bit. Obviously very Zwyroo favored when Zwyroo was strong, right? But you still had to like click. Smolder, I'm just like,
No.
You just
press some spells, yeah.
You just press some spells, bro. It just looks so free. Like how different is this than when Zwyroo was super broken?
I mean, I think the annoying part about Smolder is that he has Rumble ult on like a very low cooldown. So whenever you want to like actually siege or something, he just like ults and then you have to wait again for the next move. And also his W, I think, does way too much damage for like at least an early game. Because the champion's supposed to be weak early, but if you group against his W, you get one shot anyway. And yeah, I think with Zwyroo, it's more like she's hard to catch. So if you don't actually lock her down and catch her, she might carry the fight. But with Smolder, it's more like, well, he will carry it. Well, it's easier to catch him because he's not as mobile as Zwyroo, right? But he just has way too much damage and AoE and stuff. So if you're grouped, you're probably gonna die. And yeah, once he gets the Elder Dragon, then he's a bit OP.
Yeah. You guys played him twice, you dirty Smolder abusers.
And against it.
And against it.
Oh,
yeah.
3-0.
Don't forget.
Yeah.
You have the one. Oh, actually, wait. No, SK won against Smolder top as well. So wait, that's the only
SK
two
won
wins
against Smolder top.
right?
Yeah, KC were really close to beating it.
Giants lost with Smolder AD carry.
Giants lost. Giants. Yeah. So Smolder AD carry lost one. Smolder top obviously lost, and then
obviously.
Obviously. Based on what to be fair, I haven't watched a lot of Smolder top solo queue, so maybe that's unfair to Photon. Maybe it could have done more there, but that.
No, but actually, I think Smolder top wins in other regions for the most part. Like when I looked it up, I think like Kingen played it. No, just like in other top regions as well. Even
I think at that point, coming into that day, and I don't know if it's been played more since because it's hard to keep up. But it had been played twice, and it had won once, and it had lost once. But I can't remember if it won an LPL or if it won an LCK.
Yeah, I mean top lane. Honestly, I feel like if you have a good matchup, it's probably even better than AD for top. I mean, in the Vitality game, Photon was like 1-1 even CS against Volibear, right? And the rest of the team was just like 0-20 or something. Which is like, of course, not like too fair because I think if they were playing Smolder bot, it would have probably been the same story. Or maybe their mindset was different because they didn't like play to scale on the bot side. But I do think, the top laners just built differently as well. Like it's actually kind of OP when you get a lot of stacks in a free matchup and then you go like more tanky because then even sometimes there's like a lot of approaches against Smolder, right? And some teams they like the Vi and Nautilus like just like try and send it or like Nocturne even or something like that, just send it on the Smolder. And if your Smolder is buying like Sojin in even like tank items like Gauntlet or something, then it just becomes kind of hard to kill him at some point.
Yeah, because it feels like to me the thing that I think is really clear about the champion is that like the items sure are a part of it, but it is mostly the stacks. Like that's why you can build this Iceborne Gauntlet stuff, right? And I think that I like the idea of top lane in theory for against a melee opponent. Like it feels like you can just stack for free. But yeah, when you also had like a losing bot lane, I don't think Vitality quite had the rest of the map maybe figured out in that.
How do you feel against the Volibear though? Because like for me it was like, well, Volley turns off the tower and then you're very vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
And that kind of just felt like it wasn't the best matchup for it.
I think you can get like a lot of like stacks against Volibear. The only issue is like you get into at some points in the game the Volibear. I think Smolder against pretty much any champ. The champion can just like kind of stat check you, so it just like runs. It can just run at you, and you kind of just have to run. So it's like not too bad for Smolder usually because if you play with Ghost to match the Volibear Ghost, if you buy like boots early, you can kind of just like get free stacks on him and. It can feel annoying to play against that you're just like feeding the Smolder stacks, but you can also at the same time like try and deny him like CS, right? Or like you can set up buys, stuff like this, and that's like kind of, I mean, I guess what you need to do unless you're winning really hard like SK was on the other side of the map. Then you don't really have to do anything. Like I don't think Ireland was really doing anything in the matchup that like would normally be. I mean, Photon was like kind of chilling, but they were just losing so hard that it doesn't really matter, I guess.
Yeah. When you think about like kind of how small, because like it seems likely, and I'm not sure if it's 100% confirmed yet, that we have the hotfix for this week. But when you look at the horizon, the balance team's already hitting like way bigger nerfs coming on next patch. So clearly the champion's still really good in solo queue, right? And I expect that means that it'll still be really good in play. This feels like such a weird time. Like if you're like, especially for you guys on Heretics, maybe less for you on G2, you're already locked MSI. If there's a couple weird patches where you need to learn Smolder, it's not a big deal. But you're like trying to put a new roster together and learn. And you just have this variable of Smolder, which like if you pick it, yeah, you can stall, you clear waves, you get to 25 minutes. It feels like a simple win con, but that feels like a bad way to grow as a team. That's how I feel, but that's my biggest concern about Smolder. It's like all these teams picking Smolder, it's like, what are you actually learning in these Smolder games? Like how to lose slowly until Smolder comes online?
Yeah.
Like is that
behind, I guess.
is that a good lesson?
Yeah.
Sure, but like you're also not going to have another champion probably this year. I mean, fingers crossed, we'll see what the balance team does, right? That's just like, oh, congratulations, free win o'clock. Like you made it far enough, right? Like even if you play like Jinx or whatever, these hyperscaling 80 carries, I feel like it's never going to be as easy as it is with Smolder. I feel like Smolder is like training wheels, but in a bad way. I don't know. So. Do you agree? Like maybe I'm trolling on that one.
I mean, it's true in that sense, where it's like for sure easier to carry games than with Jinx, but also it's way weaker early game than Jinx, or like there's different strengths. But I think it's also valuable to learn how to play from behind, to have like a bit like weaker early to mid, and then just waiting for the perfect moment. And I think people that also realized that the champ is OP got rewarded for picking it.
So I would say I don't know why you said us. Like I think everyone except for Giant X and Photon specifically got rewarded
for picking it and then also countering it.
Oh, okay. And you guys brought out the Kog'Maw.
Yeah.
So nice counter, guys.
Yeah. So I know you guys had been playing Kog'Maw because you'd been a Kog'Maw team for a while. I know Kog'Maw Braum was in the wheelhouse last year as well. But like, did you immediately go, let's try Kog'Maw, or are you guys like win rate searchers and you just
buffed?
It got buffed. That was the key. I thought you just Googled who's good against Smolder and took solo queue win rates.
Also wins against Smolder.
but the buff was like better passive and like
it's like Q animation.
Q is faster with attack speed. E slows more. Sure. Ult does more damage with AD scaling.
Do you really? Passive also got buffed, right?
Yeah, passive also got buffed. Nice, guys. So we win level 1 if we go 5 stack. I told Hans to go first. Like 200 damage everyone.
Hans, just die. You will not get any CS, but maybe you'll get a kill with your passive. Yeah. Good strat.
Do you feel like, Rob, I mean, we saw a lot of teams try to combat it. There's like, we saw counterpick support with Smolder seems fucking unbeatable. Just like looked way too good, right? Like the Brahms into the Nautiluses. It just seemed like you couldn't do anything to stop him from farming.
Yeah, I think a lot of people suddenly started blind picking Nautilus for fun because people do it in OCK. But it's just not good. I'm not sure.
I don't know who does that, guys.
Anyway, I don't know what to see in it, but usually you want some setup, and maybe if you want to flex the Nautilus, makes sense. But people just pick it support, and then people pick Braum or something, and then
you can flex Nautilus.
If you want to, if you actually want to make the draft good,
you know.
Oh, okay, all right.
Just do something. Don't just blind pick it support. But anyway,
teams getting punished on that. I don't know. Did you see anything that you felt like other than we saw the Kog'Maw work? Although to be fair, very close to not working.
Yeah,
very close to not working.
But it's mostly because in LCK before everyone blind picked like Lucian Milio, Lucian Nami, and then people just match with like ranged supports or whatever, and then people actually started picking Nautilus into it, like Nautilus Senna. And Nautilus Senna always won. So they're like, oh, Nautilus Senna must be OP then. So let's first pick Nautilus and Senna. And then people just don't counter that either. So nice.
Yeah. Your support matchup.
I think it's also like Europe just doesn't really play like, as you said, the Lucian Senna or the Lucian Milio and stuff. So it's a bit harder to like push the game forward very quickly with a lot of the AD carries, right? So you kind of get time in a lot of situations to actually just scale into a better mid to late game.
Yeah. I mean, I think Lucian Milio is like also not the strongest early. I think you still need to scale up a little bit. And then, I mean, the thing is, everyone bans a lot of AD carries, especially in our games.
Yeah.
So it's hard to get to, I mean, we could get to the Lucian parts, but for some reason, Smolder was always open in our games. So I guess we couldn't get that far.
Still coming through. I feel like, is this something that, I don't know. I assume people are going to still practice it. I thought it would be permabanned the entire week and people still let it through. Do you feel like now that people have had a week, get a little practice, they're going to be like more ready to shut it down? Because I feel like this still looks like a free win. I don't know. I don't think that like teams are going to show up next week and be like, now we can decisively win in 20 minutes. Smolder is no longer a threat. So like, do you think teams are more ready? Do you feel like you guys will be more ready in week 2 to fight this and deal with Smolder?
I mean, probably, right? I think like the...
What are you gonna do about Smolder?
No, I think we'll for sure...
Not that you're playing each other, yeah.
Are you blue side by any chance?
I don't know, actually. I think we'll for sure see more Smolder, like higher Smolder priority, like either in Vans or in picks. But I mean, there's also like from practice, there's like a lot of people. I mean, it makes sense, right? Like, for example, in the Vitality SK game, the Smolder was not even picked by either side until like the 5th pick. Like, that's why Fulton played it, right? Because like Kalista was open. So obviously, one team prioritized Kalista over Smolder. And then in response, Vitality didn't want to play Smolder into Kalista because they think maybe the matchup is not good, right? Like Kalista is a very dominant lane champion, right? And Smolder is like very hard to play in lane. So I guess you could like kind of see the priority of both teams. And I think that's like also from scrims, right? Like if you play against like a really, really hard bot lane matchup, then you didn't really want to play Smolder. And then maybe the Smolder will go through champ select. So I think that's why the priority was less. But then on stage,
everyone plays a little bit more scared,
and you get a stack a little bit more free, maybe, and then like the champ looks really OP again, right? So it's hard to say.
Is Smolder like the inverse of a scrim pick? Like he just looks useless in scrims when everyone's playing like a psycho, and then you go on stage and he seems broken because no one can make a decision.
I think he looks pretty OP in scrims too. I'll be honest. I don't know.
Yeah, it seems fair.
But I think it's probably. I mean, the games maybe if you are behind, like there are definitely teams that play a lot worse when they're like really far behind, so they maybe might not think Smolder have like worked for them. And then usually if a team doesn't find success on a champion, they'll be more willing to play against the two because they'll be like, okay, if we can't win with it, we should also be able to win against it, right? Like that kind of thing. So I think maybe that plays into why Smolder had like different priority in different teams this week at least.
It makes sense, you know, despite how strong it looked, it's definitely to like it doesn't do anything for the most of the game. So I get why teams might be hesitant. Are you ready for another week of Smolder, Rob?
No.
Yeah.
I even got through like half of day one. I was like, I'm already sick.
I'm already done. I have said, literally told people 30 times a day, hey, 225 stacks, everybody. If you just stopped playing League of Legends for some reason or didn't ban this, 225 stacks. He's getting closer.
There's also like Treats tweeted out, and I kind of agree with him, is like with the champion, it's like, it used to be sick when you see a pentakill come in. And then you see the Smolder one, and you're just like, he's just got to get it anyway, isn't he? Like, this doesn't really matter.
Great job, Hans.
Honestly, I was doing so much damage on this Aatrox, like the last game we played. Like, I was doing like, I think early game, I was like 0-4.
Yeah, you were getting blasted for sure.
And then at the end of the game, I had like 41k damage or something, and my Smolder had like 48k.
Yeah.
So I was almost like same damage. I was like by far like second highest, right? And then still in the team fights, I had like 2 kills. I didn't get any kills. I was like one-shotting the Sari, and then he just dies.
It's just super collector. This is like the ultimate 80 carry ego champion. You know what I mean? It's just like they get all the credit at all times. 80 carries, bro. 80 carries.
Yeah.
That role is so funny. I feel like you have to, like, if you psychoanalyze every role, 80 carries are like for sure convinced that they're special. And Riot tells them every time because there's literally a role called support that shows up next to them. Like the carry is in the name. I feel like the bot laner branding switch didn't affect it. Like it's just like the most entitled role and all the characters affect it. If you play good enough, you can win the game. Pick Lucian. Ooh, if you do it right, just you little special boy, you can make it happen.
Yeah. It's been like that for like the entirety of League almost.
Yeah, it's true. Season 1, baby. But put Ashe back in the mid lane. Give my Scion Morgana bot lanes back.
Oh God,
that was a terrible time to play League. For the record, it was really fun, obviously, but we didn't know any better. But in hindsight, would probably be terrible. The other big change this week is the pre-recorded drafts. Which, if people weren't aware, drafts are pre-recorded. That's why when you see the draft happening, very often teams are doing team huddles on stage. What was the process like from your perspective? And also clarify maybe for people at home, like how much you do the draft and then how much time do you have? And also how are you doing the draft? Are you sitting in a room and talking? Do you just run it on TR and then exit when everyone's done? What is that process like for you guys, whoever wants to?
You can go ahead.
Okay. So we go to the backstage rooms, I guess.
Yeah.
And then we just do a draft there normally, as you would on stage.
Yep.
And then you just load into the game and then you quit. And then we go on stage. Actually, no, we have to wait for the other game to finish. Then when the other game finishes, you go on stage, you do warm up for maybe like 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you just go into game and then you just pick in the same way you picked in the...
Yeah, you just run through it, kind of. And there's no like communication restrictions or anything, you guys. So you just finish the draft, you can talk about whatever you want. You can
pretty much
do whatever you want.
Yeah, I think the weird thing is obviously that you can have like for example, let's say, I think it's more like you can pick a matchup. I don't know if other teams are like abusing it really hard. I think for our side, we're not really doing like much with it, right? But for example, let's say, in the past in G2, for example, if I was on G2, I could 1v1, like, for example, like Caps, I can also do that now, but like, back then me and Caps would like 1v1, like weird matchups, so like, let's say, for example, I pick TF and someone picked Yasuo, then Caps could go and play Yasuo in our warm-up on stage, and I could go and play TF, and we could just like, I could say maybe, I don't know if I win level 1 if he rage all-ins me, and we could just test it, before I go and play it on stage.
I know
so that kind of changes.
Whippo was kind of talking about it, saying that like he coached his mid laner through the Zac Oriana matchup.
Yeah.
Because it was like, all right, well, you get to see how this works now. So it was like right before he went on stage. So gotta see it.
And normally in the past, if you did that, right, it was kind of a guess. Like you knew it was someone his champion pool.
Yeah,
you
you could
that
not
it could
do it.
come out.
You could not do it in like response to them.
Yeah. You're not like, all right, hold up, guys. I need 10 minutes to practice this matchup. I don't know who wins level 1.
Yeah, it's that makes it kind of weird. I guess you can also, Humanoid joked about it on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, that he picked the matchup. It was against us, actually. He picked the matchup, and then he could, in theory, just go on YouTube and look up how Joey plays the matchup, and then he could just. It's kind of nice, right? You can go see, even though maybe you know how the matchup plays, but to kind of like stay focused and like stay in the game. If that's what you need as a player, you can go and just look at like a basic how the matchup is being played by like random challengers or Joey or like whatever, right?
And do you feel like most pro players can pick up that information quickly enough off of like maybe a couple 1v1s with a teammate, or off of like looking at a guide? They can be like, oh, this is how you trade. This is how, like, do you feel like it's pretty easy to pick up that information in 10 minutes?
I think it's also just that, okay, now you know what you're playing against, like what champ, and now you just get like to warm up like a few things. You get to like, he uses like his spells, you see like his, even though you should know as a pro player all of the things, it's just good to like kind of like stay in, like you're kind of like just playing a matchup before you play the matchup for real, so you can run, if you run it down, doesn't matter, but you can like see what happens,
So like basically, it sounds to me like Mirwan's going to be very sad about this change. He like pulls out Fiddlesticks. He's like, what now? I was like, all right, I got 15 minutes. Fiddlesticks top.
Yeah. I was going to say,
that's how it works. Sick.
Do you feel less likely to bring out cool things or weird things because you're just like, well, this lad's going to get the chance to practice against it?
I don't think it matters that much.
Yeah.
It does matter, but well, it depends on the team, right? Like I don't know how many teams actually like abuse stuff like that, or like use it. Abuse, I guess, is like a word for it, but but that's like, I guess, why I don't like it. I guess I don't like it also primarily because we just have to sit and wait for 15 minutes, and I think it can be like a good thing. I think I heard like some players talk about how it could be a bad thing as well, you sit there and you just like stew.
Is that how it
on
feels
a matchup
for you?
That should be like, it's just like second nature. You just play the game, right? But you have to sit there and like overthink like a lot of concepts or like how the matchup will go when it doesn't really have to be that complicated, so I can see it being like good and bad in that sense.
I think my only problem is that it's not going to be the same for international or for best like playoffs. So I think that's why it's like a bit weird to be doing it. Caps is sabotaging it by not talking about the game. After we do the draft, he doesn't want to talk about the game after. So you don't get like additional information that you wouldn't have otherwise. Which I like.
I respect that that's not only an effort, but that's an effort that he's undertaking solo. It feels like something he would like talk to the team about. He's like, guys, I don't care what you want to do, but I'm not speaking. I will not talk. All right.
Yeah.
I will not ruin my pristine mid lane practice by speaking.
Like usually with times we just talk about like how the matchup is going to go, I guess.
Yeah.
Like what we want to do, how do we want to play the waves. So I guess, we can do that as well in Champ Select or like in draft, but then we're talking over other people, but here we can do it alone, I guess.
Yeah. What would you guys change? Because like Wunder, you're speaking from a very removed perspective. You're like, some people have said this, some people have said that.
Some people,
You know.
that was mainly like the NA thing about like how it can like overthink. Like I saw like the
Sure.
I saw the Sven podcast. They were talking about it.
Yeah. Shout out to Sven. He did really well that week on LCS.
No, but yeah, I mean, personally, I would remove it because it's not the same internationally. That's like the number one. I mean, as Mikyx said, the number one thing. Of course, for me or for Heretics, we are not like at the point where. I mean, it might affect us. Let's say we go, I don't know, second or first to split. Like we could go to MSI, right?
Even playoffs, it's not gonna be there. So
yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, I guess that's true. Yeah, even for playoffs,
best ofs,
yeah. So that kind of changes like the dynamic a little bit, right? I don't think for me as a player, it's gonna affect me much, but I can see it being like just not very good practice anyways.
Yeah.
Like it's just bad habits to sit there and like think about something that you normally have like a minute to think about before you're actually playing. So it's just that's kind of weird.
Do you like? Is there anything that you would change? Like, let's say it has to exist. It's the same time frame. And again, I work for Rabbit. I wasn't a part of that decision, so I don't want to like throw anyone under the bus. I'm just assuming that they made a good decision. This was good by the league by all means. So let's assume the decision has to stay. Like, what would you change to make it better? Would you stop people from practicing? Would you make it clear what people could and couldn't do in the space between? Like, what is there any way that you can make this like?
I mean, I think there should be no restrictions because it's like kind of hard to like enforce. I mean, this is like obviously made because of game time or like the time between the games and like the overall day is going to be shorter and all that. I mean, all that is good, right? Like I like not having to wait for a long time.
Yeah.
Like the day ending earlier as well. Like when you don't go back when it's midnight or something. Like usually there has been like some delays in the past where that was the case, right? So this is just like I mean the reality of it, right? It's like I don't think there's like really a trade-off you can do. I mean it can be like maybe more efficient or like it does feel a bit weird that when you're done with the draft you go like to the player toilets or whatever, right? If you have to go to toilet before you play the game and you meet like the team,
you're playing against,
the team you just drafted against. I mean, this happens every time, by the way, like without exception. And you're like, yeah, nice draft, guys. Yeah, I think we'll win this draft. I played this matchup so many times, like stuff like this, you know. And yeah, I mean that whole point of it is kind of weird, but I don't know if you can make any restrictions. Honestly, I haven't really thought about it as like.
Can you psych out your opponent though? You're like, don't forget that you have to, max E in this match, or like whatever. It's
I mean,
just like mess with their head.
People don't understand. Like people think that the stage games where you have to worry about it's the bathroom warfare that people need to be aware of. The bathroom, for those who don't know, the LEC bathroom meta is hilarious. There's this moment where people started 5-stacking as teams going to the bathroom.
Yeah, I wonder who.
And it started affecting other teams' mental health. I guess people thought it was intimidating, so other teams responded in kind. And now you can talk about the draft, etc.
I mean, this is just like nowadays people are too sensitive about that. I mean, like back in the good old days. I mean, not the good old days.
No, what do you mean the good old days? When you're all chatting just obscenities of your opponent?
No, I mean, like the bathroom meta has changed. You know, it went from like perks like knocking in doors to people like he would just open the door really aggressively, and he hit one we were gonna play. Like, I don't know. That was like the bathroom. It has changed. It's gone a lot less. I mean, I guess now the drafting thing is, I mean, it's kind of fun, right? It's because, I mean, yeah, you can make comments about, I mean, it's just like kind of surreal that, you drafted and now you're.
Yeah, it's like it's so different. Yeah. When do you get to walk up to your opponent and be like, oh, yeah, so you like this? Oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. How do you feel about the med? Blah, 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 blah. And then you're like, all right, time to go kill each other. Like, because it's like a weird pacing
in
thing.
the past, like, I liked the drafting on stage because you can like kind of look at your opponent.
Yeah,
like, you can just like see the reactions to picks and stuff like that. But now it all happens in the bathroom. It's just like, it's fine.
Yeah. Out of context, this sounds like a very different discussion. We'll keep you posted on the LEC bathroom meta, dear audience. Yeah, it is kind of an odd change. Like it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how because like you don't really notice it at home. I think other than like you can see the players obviously huddling on stage. Like you can visually see the difference, but I don't think most people are feeling like the difference between how players are playing lane matchups. But I wonder if there are any teams who are going to get used to it, and then we go into playoffs and they're like, griefing my lane matchup, got used to practicing. But it's also only 3 weeks, so I feel like probably not that disruptive. Regardless, it's an interesting change. Does make the day shorter. And we had it for all of week 1. And in week 1, we'll start with you, Mr. Wunder. I feel like your team did pretty well for week 1. I was not expecting a lot. I think.
I mean, we could have gone 3-0. We did play against Smolder first game.
Yeah,
and
we did.
We were like, I mean, ahead, right? I mean, they had TF passive, but we were like, I guess, even or a little bit ahead, despite them having.
That was your Wukong game, right?
Yeah.
Oh, what's the smile for on the Wukong?
I've had a lot of comments about the Wukong.
Yeah, so what I will say is, so Aragon just joined the caster desk. He's been on the analyst desk, and he's a big top lane guy. And he's like, so Jax, Wukong, what the hell? And he was just confused the entire time.
Game? Yeah, I mean, honestly, but there was not like, I mean, there was like a lot of top lane bans. And also, they had like kind of good champs against like most of the top laners you pick. I mean, they had like TF plus Talia against like, for example, if you pick Yasuo, any dash champ basically. I mean, it's kind of hard to play anyways. And we didn't like have the most like setup for it either. I mean, we had like a lot to the ult, right? So yeah, I mean, it's not like the easiest to pick in that situation.
Yeah, I'm sorry, this is really hard. So for context, these guys are playing each other this week, day 1, game 3. Normally we avoid this situation, but we delayed having you guys come on for a week just to make sure everyone got a good week 1 as a result.
It's fine, but I think
you now have to keep it fast and loose.
I think the Wukong has its place. It's obviously not being played by like a lot of people. I mean, it's been played like a little bit, but it's not like. I mean, I'm the only one who played it so far. Even like. I don't even think it was played jungle yet in EU. No. I think it's being played jungle though in other regions a little bit. Yeah. In some matchups.
And support has been played with Senna.
Really?
Yeah. People play Senna and Wukong.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they're bringing it back. So I mean, in theory, it's also like a flex pick. So maybe we'll see more Wukong. I mean, we'll for sure, I think, see more than just like that one Wukong game. But yeah, I'm not sure if it's like it's probably not going to be like that big of a thing.
Hugi also lost with it.
He lost with it. I'm not the only one though.
Yeah, Wukong jungle 3 picks, 1 and 2, or 1 pick 2 bans. Excuse me.
But yeah, we had a 1-1 Smolder week, and then 1 real game, if that's what you want to call it, where we also
No,
won.
I mean, like, I don't. Well, I said that earlier, but you can tell me if I'm like, you can tell me our Smolder games. Should we look at them as? I don't want to just say the entire game doesn't count. I don't know.
I mean, we could have easily lost our Smolder game, and we could have also won against Smolder in the game we played. It just happened to be that we didn't. So I mean, and Smolder is. I mean, I think Smolder is OP, right? So, it's obvious that Smolder has it played a factor in the games, but I don't think it was too OP, so you couldn't win against it. But we did go 2-1, and I think we played like, decently well. We had some games where our comms were a little bit shaky, and then we had some games where it felt like really easy and simple to play. We still made like some basic mistakes, but not as many basic mistakes as even we did like last split. I think we played like a lot cleaner, so I'm all happy with week 1.
What do you
take into account also the practice we had?
Obviously, like kind of the elephant in the room is like Perk's out, Zwyroo, whose name I will forever mispronounce. I just try to remember. I think that's right.
I mean, that's how I pronounce it.
German. It's German to Spyro. It's Zwyroo. That's how I remember.
That's what I really want to be Zwyroo because then it's Zwyroo and Spyro every time you take Smolder as well.
It's either Zwyroo or Zwyroo.
I think it's Zwyroo. I have a clip. We have the clip of like, I think RNA or whoever saying in the Heretics announcement that I always reference back to. And then there's a clip of him saying it. But accents make it difficult sometimes to understand how people want me to say heretics. It.
So we say heretics.
Because it's a word and that's how it's said in our language. Anyway, Zwyroo. Sorry if we mess it up. We'll figure it out eventually.
I think it will win.
That's good. That's good to know. But yeah, so like what actually like feels different? Do you feel like it's mostly just that the team has had more time to play together? Do you have a clearer strategy? Like what is the biggest difference between this start to a season and kind of last start to season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously this happened kind of
suddenly.
And we were already practicing with Luca at the time. And when it happened, we had like, I think 5 scrim days left. And I think the main difference, I mean, of course, Zwyroo is like a lot. I mean, he's coming in. He didn't play LEC before. I mean, Luca has played since 2016, right? So there's obviously a lot of like experience gap, if you want to call it that. And I think in comms, you can for sure like, I mean, Luca was trying to take like a lot more charge in like how he wants the game to be played, like around his his style, right? Or like how he wants people to play around him.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Zwyroo is like a lot more reserved in that way. I mean, he has good ideas as well, and all that, but he doesn't take as much. He doesn't take up as much, I guess, like room in the comps, and there's like a lot more, maybe room for Trimby to say something, or Jankos, or me, or like whoever, right? So that's like for sure a difference. And I think the difference besides that, I mean, is I guess champion pool. I mean, Luca is like confident. I mean, not that Zwyroo isn't, but Luca is like a lot more confident in just like pulling out
whatever on stage.
I mean, he has also played for a long time, so that's usually like if you have played like, let's say, Yasuo 2 years ago, maybe you are willing to pull it out just on a whim, like within a week. And Zwyroo has like a lot more, I guess, like classical champion pool. Whatever you want to call it.
The art of saying things, not the art of simultaneously not flaming Luca, not flaming Zwyroo, and also not giving anything away to Mikyx. Like you're like, people don't appreciate how like the tightrope that you are walking right now to continue this conversation.
He's just political life.
You know,
yeah. I mean, I'm kind of smurfing right now, right?
Just people don't appreciate how many factors you're considering right now.
No, so I think obviously he's like, I felt like it has been decently like plug and play, because he plays his style, his champions. We had 5 days of scrims or something with him, as I said, and we haven't really like expanded too much beyond that. So already after 5 days, we kind of knew like, well, what we were gonna get and what we were gonna do. At least like in terms of implementing him as a new player in the team. So it didn't feel like we had like too many restrictions coming into like draft or something, because we kind of just, I mean, we were prepared for, well, what he was going to bring to the team. So,
And what's kind of the process like of introducing him into the team and getting him?
In 5 scrim days, that's like that's like a lot. Like, what is? I mean, you guys have both brought in a lot of players over the year, and I feel like normally in most circumstances you've done it with a lot more time. What is it like when you only have 5 days? Is it just like, hey, nice to meet you. What do you play? Got it. Sick. Let's go. Like,
I mean, he was the academy team's mid laner, right? So we had also our coaching staff had like a lot of information. I mean, what he plays in scrims, how he does, like all of this stuff, right? So it was not like hard to. We didn't really have to have like the champion talk or something. We already knew from like coaching staff what was most likely the way we were gonna do. I think the only thing that it was like hard to implement is like, I don't think the way when the bout was like that good, you know.
Sure.
I think starting scrims with a different mid laner and with the implication that he's gonna be playing for the split, and then changing that within like a week before the split starts. I don't think that's the best way to go about it. So obviously that makes it different. Like the atmosphere and everything becomes like a little bit different around it. Because it would be something else if it was you come in after, like at the start, fresh after a split, and you start the scrims from day one. So that definitely makes it, the dynamic just a little bit weirder. But I think at least what we have going for us is that, I mean, he played in the academy, and we have like a lot of information, and he also has people in the coaching staff that has worked with him in the academy as well, right? So he has friends, so to speak. I mean, he worked with Flaka as well when Flaka was in the academy, so I guess he has like a lot of people at least he can talk to if he doesn't feel like comfortable in the situation, right?
I mean, I super feel for him and for the rest of you guys too, right? Like, I don't want to. We already were kind of critical of maybe the decision or the decision-making process. Rob, I do think you did a good job of representing kind of like both sides in our previous episode. So I don't want to bring you on here to start dragging this back up.
Guys,
time for you to flame Wunder. Just roast
get my
your
turn.
org. You didn't get your turn. You want a turn, Mickey? You can go.
No, I was just wondering something about the draft. You know, in your first game when you left Smolder open, whose idea was to pick Karma and Johnny from the jungle?
No comment. It was mine, actually. I was behind the draft. That
makes sense.
It's that meme. It's that meme. Someone else on the team is hiding, crouched down in a ball. Maybe it's Peter Gunn. Maybe it's Kirei. Who knows? It's just Wunder, just tanking the arrows. I'm glad that you guys got a good first week of results, because obviously, for Zwyroo, like coming in under those circumstances isn't the ideal for him either. And like if you show up and then immediately bomb, that's like the worst start to your career imaginable, right? Because he's already under a lot of scrutiny.
I mean, I think a lot of people had very low expectations of us.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like kind of normal. I mean, we know what's going on in scrims, so we knew that we could win. And I mean, even if scrims were going bad, I would still have confidence that on stage we could win, right? I don't lose confidence that easily just because of like maybe 5 days of bad scrims.
Or
But
like like 30 tower dives.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Losing jungle matchup.
But internally, of course, like, I mean, we all knew it was not like an ideal situation, and we all knew that like it will obviously be harder to come in and perform with given the circumstances we were in. So I mean, it's fair to say that the expectations were lower like across the board. And I don't think, I mean, of course it's really good now that we went 2-1, but I don't think it would have been detrimental that we are 2-1 or 3-0. I mean, I think it would be fine if we were 1-2, you know, like we could for sure make a way to come back. But I mean, I'm happy that we got the wins that we got.
Yeah. You did it. You did it. You can stop walking on the tightrope. I promise. No more questions. We talked about the roster changes. You did great. Thank you again. For anyone else, obviously, like there's a lot of nuance there.
So everyone who just pressed this timestamp just to see this, then you can.
Bam.
It's fine. I'm done.
And look, like maybe there's a world where the more exciting content was you just start roasting people, but I respect that you're simultaneously being respectful to your former mid laner, to your current mid laner, to your teammates, because it would. Yeah,
hashtag keep smiling.
You're a content genius. I love it. Hashtag keeps. You're the gift that keeps on giving, Wunder. Anyway, 2-1 on the week. I don't really feel like I have 100% firm grasp on how good you guys are going to do again, because even if Smolder doesn't entirely taint wins, from my perspective, it's still hard to read, because I think that Fnatic game was. I want to give you credit for coming back in that game, because I feel like you were getting wampa stomped topside, right? Like you just got dove endlessly. How did you feel about your own performance in that Fnatic game? Because I think mostly it felt like jungle mid kind of brought it back as it got later, but you highlighted your own damage earlier talking about it. Like you actually were doing work in those late game fights.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of hard to say, right? Because I don't think, I mean, as a like team and me and Jankos specifically, we could have like, I guess, figured out a way to play it out better. But given what we did as a top jungle, like I don't think like mechanically, I don't think I played mechanically bad to the point where that's why I got dove. Yeah. I think it just happened because we didn't play around it as a team properly.
Sure.
So my individual performance.
Mickey, you got something to say? Say it. No, he hasn't got to chime in. I want you to chime in.
I will say though that we could have done things to probably stem the bleeding a little bit.
You can just roast Jankos now.
Yeah.
You can call it out. We're past the tightrope part. You can talk your shit.
I think for sure our draft didn't do us any favors. I mean, we had a good draft when it comes to, I mean, I think it's not only Smolder scaling that kind of like, I think Aatrox into all the gems that they had, like they were just all running in. I was hitting like 4 or 5 people almost with my spells, and doing a lot of damage, right?
Yeah.
So I think even at that point, I mean, of course, when we're this far behind, Smolder, of course, plays a really big deal into it.
Yeah.
But if we were not like as far behind, and if we had a different AD carry, we would definitely still be like the outscaling team. So yeah, we just need to fix the early parts of it, and then I think it would be fine even without Smolder. And I think Fnatic played kind of bad from ahead. They could definitely, with the champs they had, like have forced. Like I remember, I mean, they were just playing really passive, and I think Oscarinin kind of probably didn't really have too much of a game plan at some point. Like he was just pushing waves into me. I was catching for free, and I was like freezing, slow pushing, whatever was good for me, and kind of getting back into the game. I was farming camps. They were not really doing much on the other side, and then at some point, I think around like the Grump when we got a good fight, they didn't really like. I guess they couldn't really come back. Like I was already back in the game, and I was already like kind of one-shotting the Sari if I got on him. So at that point, the game was kind of up for them to play.
Yeah. Rob, what was your impression of this game overall? Because obviously, just looking at it, you see the start of the game. You see Smolder, so you're like, maybe. But then you got Volibear and Renekton endlessly murdering Wunder. Wunder goes bot, they murder him again. You know,
Yeah,
like
that
Aatrox.
was my bad, guys. So
Yeah, that one I don't know about as much. The other one I'm like, well, there's nothing. I mean, you either die into the tower or you lose 30 waves. So the rest of the deaths I had more sympathy for. But what was kind of your impression of this game overall?
I mean, so I actually don't have a great impression of this game because I spent this time trying to figure out how we're going to sync to Goldberg, and also and also then how we're going to double up with me running back and forth for your guys' game between doing a double analysis point. So I just have to catch up in this game. But I mean, I honestly think in the moments that I did see, I think Zwyroo had a great game of the Nico. Like a couple of these engages were actually sick. Like being able to flash over the back of like Dragon Wall and stuff was really, really good to see. So yeah, I think it was really nice to see him have his moment to shine, because I think when there has been so much kind of like talk about back and forth about the mid lane change, I think it's nice that he's able to just kind of take it on the chin and go, no, look, I'm going to show you what I can do, and then have those phenomenal moments.
Do you feel like we saw this kind of with Jackie's as well in Winter, where like he looked really solid on the Nico? We saw Zwyroo. Is Nico, do you feel like a beginner friendly champion? Like not beginner, but like, do you think it's an easier champion for newer players to perform on stage? I don't know what your guys' read is on this. Just like, and it's purely just noticing the coincidence that both Jackie's and Zwyroo have like had good performances pretty quickly.
What do you think?
Caps as well.
Caps
Caps
had
a
Yeah,
pretty
Caps the rookie definitely had a pretty good game too. Yeah.
I mean, I think with this champ, it's hard to not get at least one good ult in a game.
Yeah.
Like even I managed to do it when I played one game with Nico.
Okay.
So it's like, I mean, it's a very game-changing ult that is quite easy to hit whenever you have flash and maybe no flashes.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you don't get at least one per game, then you're probably not good at Nico.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's quite easy to do. Yeah.
I
think. Wait, just to jump in real quick.
Course,
I think. Well, the good thing about our draft was that we were the outscaling team. Usually, if you're playing Nico, maybe you want to like accelerate the game like a lot more. And while I mean, he did like a good pick mid, good pick bot, so like keep us in the game.
Were really,
to keep us in the game, right? I think like the good thing about our draft was that they all wanted to run in on us, and they wanted to kill the Smolder, obviously. And yeah, I mean Nico, I guess when he has to use his ult to, I mean, it doesn't really matter who he knocks up and stuns. He doesn't have to like get on one target specifically. He just has to like stop everyone from kind of running into us. And I think Nico, in that sense, is like kind of straightforward to play, and he made good use of like pretty much every ult he got. Was like I mean that was like I guess one at the inhib in mid where it didn't really bang, but I think every other ult I mean, it was very, I mean, just very strong champ because they couldn't really force on us, right? So yeah, in that sense it was kind of a good draft for us.
Yeah, I think the combination obviously of Smolder ulti, which is really nice for clearing mid wave, who would have thought, and then also Zwyroo's ults and Jankos Lee Sin did a ton of work that game. I was super impressed. I will say like
Jankos Lee Sin, I mean, he kind of like, I could see, maybe it's the hair transplant. He kind of like went back in time, you know?
It's actually, that's the secret.
To when the hairline was banging and his Lee Sin was good.
Yeah.
Hairline equals hands.
Yeah. he's actually just Benjamin buttoning now. Back to 2014 Rocket Jankos, one step at a time. We'll hit H2K Jankos at some point. He'll be the first Blood King again. Respectable. Also, the hairline looks good. Shout out to Jankos. You know, hairline does look good. Oh, bro, come on, give him his props.
I can't say anything.
You can't say anything.
Like,
I
don't know. It's fine.
It's fine, bro. No shame.
At some point, I'll get one.
We'll book a vacation to Turkey. We'll go. We'll all get hairlines, better hairlines.
I'll go for a beard.
We'll just unite under the hair transplant. But yeah, I thought like overall pretty solid week. I think again, I want to see what teams look like if Smolder does get the nerf bat before we head into playoffs. Because the biggest thing for me is not just that he scales infinitely, it's the infinite wave clear of the ulti cooldown, which is reduced in the hotfix, so we'll adjust. But I thought it was a pretty promising first week. Fnatic, again, I want to see more for Oscar when he has that kind of lead. You talked about him not having a plan. That was a bit of a weird game for me, but still credit to you guys for bringing it back. We'll get to G2 eventually, Mickey, because you're kind of like, you're winning, and it's G2. You know, like, what's new? You know, I'm going to ask you the same question that everyone asks us to ask, which is, how do you stay motivated? But, well, I'll let you save your answer. I just don't give a shit anymore. And talk about some of the other teams. I want to talk about Rogue, boys. Finn promised they'd be more not boring.
Yeah.
Guys, they're boring.
They had one close game, right? Like the last game? No?
Yeah, I think
they were about to
at
win at some Wait, who did they play last
Now I have to
game?
remember the last game. It
They
was
had
Rogue
the
BDS.
strong early game against BDS,
Oh, BDS,
and
yeah.
then did
Yeah.
absolutely nothing.
No,
with
no.
the
I
close.
mean,
yeah.
that game was like winning for them, right?
Be a
That's-
winner.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then they just couldn't. They didn't really push their lead. So yeah. So like, what's your guys? You won against Rogue. That's the other reason I don't know how to feel about you guys. You beat Rogue. Rogue are a hot mess. Forgot about that.
True, yeah. I mean, that's fair. I mean, it's so hard to say, right? Because I don't think there should be a reason why. I mean, Larson was good in the past, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of iffy where he is now because, I mean, lately they have not been doing well, right? And Comp was also good in the past.
Yeah, Comp won. Larson won. Marcoon
And-
looked good on SK.
Yeah,
like
Marcoon has
Finn
been
has
good.
looked pretty
right? Finn
solid.
has been good. I think even like when he was on Astralis,
Yeah.
I think he was one of the players that, I mean, he had like really good games, right? You could see that, I mean, he still has like the ability to carry game, play at a high level, right? So, yeah, I mean, the only one I'm not sure about is their new support, like Suarez. I think when we played against him, he was kind of, his playstyle was weirdly aggressive.
Yeah,
he was like
he's a-
hooking in on
yeah,
cooldown,
he's
but
a-
it was not.
Yeah.
I was kind of mind blown sometimes. I was like, what? He's just doing that? So I guess respect to him for just pressing
Yeah.
his abilities whenever they are.
Yeah.
Not always the best decision. But yeah, I mean, that's why I don't know, right? I think all the players should, in theory, be good. They just don't really make it work.
But I feel like that's how we all feel. We're all just like, what? Like, what on paper you would expect this to not be such a train wreck, and it just continues to be a train wreck. They make a change. They draft, and you're getting to their first draft, and you're like, winning lanes? They're set up. Oh, it's coming back. And then they get in the game, and after the lane phase, it's just like, nope, never mind. Solo
It just
kill.
feels like they need someone with a voice to say like, "Hey, look, this is what we're going to do."
But I mean, Mickey, you played with some of these guys before. It's like, are they voiceless? Do they not speak? Like, I don't want to.
No,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
think Mark and Finn talk quite a lot. Yeah.
yeah. So I'm just wondering, like, what is actually? Where is it breaking down? I mean, I don't
think
expect you to have
we
the
could
answer.
start
Yeah.
Draft. 'Cause
Let's-
whenever I look at their drafts, I'm like, what the fuck? What are they doing?
Break it down for me, man. What do you not like? I can get
just
the drafts up
usually-
for you if you
yeah,
want to look.
give me the drafts.
Here.
But like the first early 3 picks usually are very weird. Wait, which was the
We
first game
got
that was?
Rogue BDS here.
Click the
Rugby is
expanded.
here,
Give him
and
the
then you guys
expanded one, Rob.
Expand. Give me the
Go to the
expand.
actual pick and ban so
Oh,
he can
gotcha.
look at. He's not used to your fancy shoutcaster.
I'm gonna show you how to draft. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Talk to me about draft.
yeah, correct.
Yeah. So they should have picked Cockmore Brom here. Oh, okay. Cockmore Brom. Yeah, sure.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
just
then the
to-
Cockmore should go dagger, and the lane
It's the
should look
picks.
very
This is-
volatile. Yeah, and then you could lose the game there, but I guess you're G2, so you win anyways. All right, man. Draft
Kalista Renata. Okay, this one was like winnable. But I think
Which one? You
that's
have to-
the last
no
one.
one at
That's the
home
BDS
can
game.
see but you.
That's the
Just
BDS
have to-
BDS game.
the BDS one was
actually
winnable.
did
Okay,
win
okay,
early.
okay. The
Yes.
Heretics one, they won to Ziggs and Nautilus.
Okay,
it
that
they
was
won to?
really weird. Yeah.
Okay,
6 Nautilus. That
that
did
was
not bang,
interesting.
yeah.
And then the previous game, they have like, what is this? Oh, yeah, Udyr, Vi, Nautilus, Way, Kalista. I'm not sure about this one. Like, they do have 2 lockdowns for this
I
area.
mean, they have
but
like 3
who's
winning
gonna kill
lanes,
them?
right?
Sure, yeah.
Wait, but they have
But
Vire,
that's
right?
like, you can just pick Kalista, and
Yeah.
then you have a winning lane.
No,
and
no,
then-
that's true.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure if Udyr's still any good. It's been a while since
Oh, you
I've seen
don't
that.
think so?
No, you can prove me wrong next week. I'm welcome to be proven wrong by the Udyr.
I mean, you know, when I play Udyr, I proxy top and I run bot and dive here, so.
Yeah, worked really well last split.
Well, it worked well until the point where we were completely clueless. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys not rate the Ziggs Nautilus? Because I've actually seen that a lot in LPL, which is just
Okay, I
like
do it-
basically point and click CC, and then you just Ziggs ults on top of it, and you just
Yeah, I mean, I think 6
Yeah.
probably has like a place.
Maybe not 1-2 though.
But I would,
Yeah,
I mean,
fair.
we would, I mean, not to give too much away, but I don't
Yeah.
think we would have banned the 6. So if they wanted to go like a different route and like throw us off guard with the 6, I mean, it gets like kind of easy for us to, I mean, what did we pick? Like Sari that game?
you got.
I mean, we just got like, I mean, we kind of knew that 6 was not being flexed. I mean, they could in theory
Yeah,
flex
fair,
it like if they were had like
Appa.
if they have APA going in mid lane all of a sudden. No, but yeah, I mean, so bot lane can kind of just pick. I mean, 6 is not like an unconventional bot laner in the sense that, I mean, right now it's not being played a lot, but it has been played like a lot in the past. So there's like a theme of AD carry that maybe Flugget likes to play into 6, and he was just free to pick it, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if they pick like 6 into, I don't know, maybe like Draven or something that historically is bad against mages, then maybe it would be different.
Something immobile or something that like cancels your lane or something.
But I guess like Sari can just jump on him and kill him if he overextends. He can't really push out like deeper than if he has no tower behind him, right? And yeah, Sari scales pretty well, I guess. So yeah.
Also,
I guess so it goes. No Smolder, but Zeri's like all right when she scales.
It would make some sense if they at least got like, if there was a mid laner that is AD, that you want to have like an AP bot laner, so you have AD mid that is OP, but they just got a Tristana, which is like, I'm not sure if I would consider that an OP mid lane pick.
But
so
the
like,
tower place, Mickey, they pushed the towers.
Yeah, it's true.
Which is, to be fair, when
if they get 6 drops and Herald, maybe they end the game
we were
in 20
like,
minutes.
They're going to kill every tower. And then we watched the game, we're like, never mind. They will not kill any tower.
I mean, it is true. Like in the game, I remember I remember me saying that we should be mindful if we're trading sites or doing anything because they have like 6 Tristana. I mean, we should
you're going to be behind.
More often than not, we should probably like, even if we are maybe like 1 wave ahead in tempo or something like that, we should probably more often than not just like get control and then reset and defend our towers because that's what their comp wants to do. And yeah, I think even though the game was, I mean, this classic rogue game, a little bit slow and stalled out. There was not much room for
I think I went on to Cable Stream immediately after this and said that was the worst game I ever cast, but it might have been the game before that.
Yeah.
I also just remembered on the BDS game, they just 2-3 Renata and then Labro plays Blitzcrank, right? He blinded Blitzcrank in the past.
Oh, no, okay, yeah. So I remember that too. The Blitzcrank was...
They also have Maokai. Maokai Blitz is like weak or what? Sure.
I mean, that's the BDS classic.
Yeah,
Maokai
but they just
Blitzcrank.
like blind Renata. Yeah, sure, yeah. Brave. I think it worked really well for them.
That was a Blitzcrank game. That was one of the Blitzcrank games of all time. Most certainly. The other team that I want to know about, because like Team Heretics obviously good score lines. Still want to see more from you guys. I think it's fair to say, given that you beat Rogue, given that there's a lot of Smolder involved.
We started well last split as well. So
yeah,
I think we were 4-2 or something. So
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's fair to say. I mean, I also want to see more.
It's also only 3 games. Even if you played perfect in all 3 games, it would still be reasonable to want to see, a little bit more. I want to talk a little bit about the teams that are looking a little loosey-goosey in week 1, kind of playing below expectations. Loosey-goosey, great term. Mad Lions, Koi, BDS. You're looking at me with this look on your face like loosey-goosey is the funniest shit you've ever heard in your entire life.
I know, someone was saying it. Was it Yamato, right? Yamato used to say it.
Oh, yeah. I mean.
In 2016 or 17, I think. Anyway, yeah. BDS Mad?
The throwback. Yeah, like what's your diagnosis? Because they kind of absolutely, I'm trying to remember their last game. Yeah, the Giant X game looked 1.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of just the throw zone. I think Mirwin got caught on a rotation. Frescowi got caught just like overstaying, and then the game was over. If you need to look at the draft for context, I remember
watching that game a little bit just before our game, and I thought it was completely over for Giant X. But then somehow I go to the bathroom and I saw that they won in the end. I don't know what happened. But
Yo-Yo was like,
I guess they outscaled.
Like Peach like literally couldn't play the game. Volibear's like a million farm ahead. Topside looks miserable.
And then had like 0 damage draft. I remember.
Yeah,
they had like Karmas and something weird. And then I think BDH had a rough schedule, so can't do much about that.
Kind of not sure. So you still feel like
had a rough schedule?
Yeah, they played this one.
They almost went 0-3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They lost against Vitality. That was a bit of a shocker.
Yeah. So I guess the follow-up. Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Peach had a rough game. I was just because Peach just kept getting caught out. They were like, "Oh, we actually earned a decent spot," and then Peach got caught out in River like 3 times.
Wait, the Mad Lions game? Or?
No, sorry, this is the against Vitality.
The game against Vitality. Yeah, they had the really, and you guys cast this really well, by the way. They swap top, they fake back, they push, and they get like 2 plates for free. They're playing Kalista Ashe at this point in Devaris, so they've got like full control. Okay. This is the SK game, right? So it's like Exa burns probably a sloppy flash, right? But like they full bot control, transition to top, they're way ahead, bam, fake back, get 2 plates for free, recall, everyone's going Drake, it's gonna be great, and then like Peach just dies on clearing a control ward on the top side of mid for some reason, like
sucks.
And then they try to hard force, I think, anyway, and like SK, like I think in the end they still get the Drake, but it's just like there's like a bunch of little hiccups in this game for Peach especially that just like made that game so bad.
Yeah, I didn't watch the Giants game. We were drafting. We were busy out drafting our opponents. But yeah, I mean, I think BDS, I guess, I just think, I mean, they had a rough game, right? Like Adam had like a rough game against Photon on Rumble. And yeah, I mean, I think they're just they're still good at what they do. BDS, I think like how they win most of the games is, I mean, they go to Drake and they have like, for example, the Maokai Blitzcrank one game. They press their abilities well. They have like good vision. They hook you on Blitzcrank. They win a team fight. Usually Adam is playing something without TP, right? So he has a move. He goes in there. He gets like a base for it or something. And they just send it. And then they win or lose more often than not. Because I think, they are just, they're a better team than most European teams.
But it sounds like it's still pretty, because I think the biggest criticism people have for BDS is they kind of do one thing. They just do the one thing, right?
I mean, I think they play decently well, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, they are for sure. I don't know if they are like they're a byproduct of Europe being like a bit worse, then they're kind of abusing that. Like, I don't know if they're just, because I think, I mean, we saw what happened at Worlds, right? For every European team.
Yeah.
Also against America.
Everybody just look at Mickey and Sai one time.
Yeah. We saw what happened, you know? I mean, but I think just the way they play the game is very coached. I guess. Like they just set up for their just objectives. They do the same thing, it seems. Obviously, you can't do the same every game, because if you have like a weak lane or something, or if you play bad, then you can't really set up as frequent as you do. So obviously they do something right. And I think that's just what they do to win the games. And sometimes it works. And then when they're playing against better teams, they usually don't work. I guess G2 like 3-0'd them or something, right?
Yeah. Well,
yeah. Did you? Yeah, you 3-0'd.
Like
You only lost a
playoffs.
game to Fnatic and a game to MDK in your playoffs run.
Also, a lot of people might not know, but BDS got a bit nerfed because Azir is disabled. So
that's true.
That is one of the 2 millions they were winning on last
distinction.
split. And then we also banned Orianna against them.
Victims of the patch, it's safe to say. I felt like Nuke had a really good winter though, even outside of those picks. But I can definitely see that was kind of their fallback for sure. I want to wrap. We have a lot of community questions, and just before we get to them, kind of final notes on this week one. There's a lot of teams we didn't talk about. Is there any team that you think that they're like, regardless of where they are in the standings, like who do you think has had the biggest shift from winter to spring? I know based on scrims, it's just a couple of games, but you guys would probably know better than most of the people at home, or even us, because we've really only been able to see stage games. Is there like a team that people should be looking out for, or that has a big shift? Is it KC? Is SK going to be cracked this split? Like, what are your expectations for the most likely team to? Who's your dark horse? Wow, that's what I'll say. I'll just use my buzzwords.
Team Heretics.
Team Heretics?
I mean, I don't know. Vitality was surprising, I guess.
Yeah.
That they went 2-1, right?
Yeah.
I didn't expect that. And Heretics 2-1. Didn't expect them to win against Fnatic.
Yeah. I mean,
that's my dark horses.
That's fair.
Vitality, just both teams that are 2-1. Those are your dark horses. Thank you, Mickey.
I didn't expect them to be 2-1.
Thank you for your defense. I mean, I didn't expect that shit either. I thought you might have some scrim insight or something.
Good insight. Really good insight.
Oh, yeah, my bad, guys. Everyone loses in scrims. Sucks.
Yeah, this team lost to us a little bit less in scrim, so I think they might have a little
I
bit.
thought Rogue was going to be better. They were actually winning some games compared to everyone else. So.
That's good to know. That's good to know.
Rogue
That's
dark
important.
horse.
Rogue Dark Horse. They're actually good in scrims. Or
they are not supposed to be 0-3.
Okay, yeah. I agree. They're not supposed to be 0-3.
I like to look at it negatively, though.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
So I think...
Who do you think's worse?
I think Mad is overrated.
You think Mad is overrated?
And
Do you want to say that one more time? Hold on.
as well.
Hold on. Can you please? I'll Google. I'm going to deep L that and put that in Spanish. Can you repeat that?
No, I can do it in Spanish. Don't worry. Okay. No. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to take anything away from them, right? They got finals, but I don't think they will get finals again.
Ooh. And also Wunder said after last split that they're going to finish above them.
Yeah, I think we're going to finish above them.
You're going to finish above Madeline's Squad.
And I think personally, I mean, of course they play like they have like good champion pool and all this, and they play like creatively. But I do think,
damn, you're trying so hard to just say what you want to say,
I
brother.
do think personally, whenever I play against Mervin, he does play the conventional matchups below average level.
Okay.
So he definitely, it's good for him when he gets the cheeses and it works. But I think this also only works because of like inexperience and just, I mean, he can catch people off guard. I do think maybe when it goes like internationally, you really need to have like the conventional matchups down to like at least playable level. Yeah. And I think if you're playing like a matchup, let's say, Renekton Gnar, something like that. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what the
Yeah,
meta
sure,
is gonna be,
sure.
right?
But just like
Yeah,
normal,
I
no
think
one's
it
picking any
shouldn't-
weird stuff.
I think Mervin on average will play that probably a lot worse than someone who, well, yeah, in the league.
Then
I
let's say
think.
the average. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fine.
So I think they're a bit overrated. Although I mean, the bot lane has good games. I mean, top lane has good games when the cheese has all that, and Elioya is playing well. So they are not a bad team. I just think we'll finish above them.
Okay.
Hopefully.
Mostly, but mostly your impression is based around your experience versus Miro in top lane.
Yeah, and also in scrims. I think they're worse in scrims than on stage.
And could we also get your opinion on Carmine Corp so then we can just have all the hate?
Yeah, actually. Yeah. Good call, Rob.
Yeah.
The podcast
Yeah.
can go a little bit longer. We just need the. And also, can you say this one in French, please?
I mean, I think Common Corp is. I think they're. I mean, they were in scrims. I think last bit they were also like decent. I mean, they were definitely not. I mean, they got like 2 wins, I guess, at the end. But I think they were better than their score line, at least in the first couple of weeks. And I think it's probably the same. I mean, now they're 1-2, right? So maybe now they're as good as their score line suggests. I don't think they're gonna be much better than that. I do think they have like for sure. I mean, weaknesses in their laning.
Yeah.
And I think that's just like the biggest. I mean, okay, I don't know what goes on internally in the team.
Yeah.
I heard, of course, like what everyone else hears, like shot calling is bad, all this stuff, which I mean might be true. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to suggest that. Like, if you watch the voice comms, I mean, a lot of people are saying that Targamas doesn't talk. Of course, they have like an import jungle, and I think if your jungle support is not really
communicating,
is not really playing on their A game in comms, the game can look a little bit weird. Or feel a bit weird to play. So, I mean, there's a lot of things that suggest that they shouldn't be better than what they are. And I don't know if, scrims really changed that.
Okay. I will say that I felt pretty good about a lot of the bot lane matchups, even against you guys, when you went to punish upsets lack of flash on bot lane. Like, Targa had a really great Tom Kench W to interrupt Hansama when he was doing this flap, or whatever the stupid shit. So he stopped the all-in. Some good moments. They were one of the teams that was the most aggressive when it came to shutting the Smolder down, which I really like because there were so many teams that were like just afraid to get like just to walk up to Smolder week 1 and just like push his shit in. I felt like they played a couple of their early games.
Against us?
No, not against you. Against you, they did okay. They did fine, right?
Like the champs didn't have
no, but their first 2 games, I think that they played really aggressive in the first few levels, and I think it paid off for them. It didn't ultimately like net them a lot because in a lot of the games like Smolder still scaled, right? But I was impressed by that. I thought that was progress. Bo had a bow game against you guys. Their early game was good, and then we got to mid game and they were dizzy, which was kind of what I expected. Yeah,
Smoldered.
They
got the group mid 5 and then
they grew mid 5, got smoldered, got ran around the map by G2 Esports, and eventually you guys got like a flank mid. What was it? Yeah, and then just Yike and BB just winning the game for you. But I don't know. Decent
Getting
progress.
carried by top lane, just like the entirety of his career.
That's me.
Last thoughts on KC, Rob? Is there anything you're optimistic about? I'd say it had no. I guess it looked better than
I was
Winter.
going to say, it looks better.
Better
right?
than Winter.
I mean, they did well against Fnatic as well in the early stages. So, I mean, look, maybe they'll get
I
something.
mean, honestly,
but,
I think it kind of looks similar.
I think it's the same, yeah.
You think it's the same?
I mean,
Last
okay,
week-
they got a win,
last-
right? So if you're doing
Yeah.
like results-based analysis, I think for sure it's better.
but you feel like it's the same,
but
like
I've
pretty
seen
good
them-
in lane
I mean,
phase.
in week 1 of like last
Yeah,
split,
it looks
they
promising.
were also in winning positions, I think.
Yeah. I
They
mean,
were
but
all
I've
against
seen
us and
5
Fnatic.
of them on the same screen in the mid.
I guess that's
maybe
that's
30%
true.
more often. So
I mean, it makes sense, right? They're like new at playing with each other, and I guess like they should look more cohesive with more practice. They only played for 3 weeks, right? Because this is how the system works. You play for 3 weeks, and then you are knocked out if you don't do well, right? So they should look better now. I just don't know if they look better in comparison to the rest of the teams, like as compared to
Yeah,
how
I
they
think
were
that's
like
fair.
last bit, right? So
Yeah.
That's the hardest part, right? It's not enough to just improve. You have to improve faster than everyone around you. Tricky. Well, we'll see. But I like that you're just calling out all the big words, just like overrated, trash.
I mean, I don't think K-Corp is overrated. I think they're rated.
They're the other
They're
way.
rated fairly at the bottom. Yeah, they're
I mean,
where
it
they belong.
Depends on. I mean,
Below me in the standings.
this is what I said, right? This is what I've said before. If you're a K-Corp fan, they're probably overrated. If you're a K-Corp hater, they're probably underrated. I think they're like in the middle somewhere.
They're just average. Strong opinions banned on K-Corp. You have to have really middling opinions. Let's go to the Twitter questions, community questions. Rob, you want to kick us off with I don't know. You take us. You can pick anyone. You don't have to do them in order. Take whichever one you
I
want
was
to
just going
start
to
with.
take the one that's at the top because
Sure.
it's easiest. But so this one comes from Molecule. Shout out really good analysis. But we've seen an occasional lane swap lately with top/support defending top tier 1. Which top and support duo would be the best dual lane in LEC except for yourselves?
Like except for ourselves.
So take the two you guys out of it.
Except for me and Yang, like me and Trimby, sorry, or except for me and Mickey if we were.
So like, don't put yourselves.
in either position.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But would it be? Would you just put yourself in BB? Is that just like team ego? If you could just do that,
would you just?
Or is that just like
Wunder?
You put you in Wunder?
I mean, the thing is, most teams that have done that, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, right? But is with Senna, because I mean, Senna can also get like, I mean, if she's playing against what's it called, like a tank or just something where, or like not even a tank, like maybe tank is a bad example, but if you're playing against someone where you can force him off tower like 2v1 and it's hard to farm, you can like get souls with Senna and stuff like that. So I think it's like mostly a Senna thing. And I don't even know, like I mean, it kind of just depends on who's a good Senna player, no?
So Targamas.
Targamas?
Yeah.
And Cowboyshard? Or just Targamas plus someone else?
I think you can do outside of teams as well, right?
Yeah, you can mix
it
up.
You can
mix and match. Someone said
So
Whippo Hillis.
You said
Targamas
Targamas is a good Senna?
Yeah. He plays a lot of
So
It was
I guess,
Whippo.
Oh, Whippo.
yeah. So
good
if
at Mikyx
Targamas is
surviving.
the support, no, but then the top laner should be someone
good at surviving,
someone who like abuses enemy top, no?
Mm.
Because they need to like, you can't be weak side.
Okay.
Oh, can you? I
So
guess you can.
Adam Targamas, just
No,
old
so it should be-
K-Corp.
Okay.
Old K.
Okay, maybe it should be against someone who wants farm to snowball. It's kind of hard to pick a top laner, no? Like maybe.
I like we've also just decided tonight because this is an interestingly phrased question. He's just like, supports go top lane to cover tier 1. Who's the best duo if you had to lane together? It's like these two things aren't related at all.
I guess yeah. I mean, okay, so Copper Shot maybe. Yeah.
Okay.
He's a Cyan player.
True.
So it's the Cyan Senna lane.
Yeah, they could do
They are
that.
just coming back.
Oh, bringing it
They're
back.
using the W on the creep and pushing it in,
Yeah.
like the wombo combo. Maybe just combo. Maybe K-Corp, yeah. It's just a K-Corp lane.
Do you know the game where you played that? I drew someone.
Schalke.
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 Yeah. I like drew a diagram for how the combo worked because I wasn't sure if whoever I was casting with like knew what was going on, and I couldn't say it. I didn't want to say it, but I was like, oh no, I wasn't casting. I ran up to the desk and held up the diagram. I was like, E, creep, W. I was like, this is how it works because neither person knew, and I didn't want to talk in their ear, so I was just like,
Yeah. Wait, when was that getting played? Who played Senna Sion?
you played Senna Sion.
No, but like the one that who were you showing it to?
Whoever was casting that game, because it was, I remember now, it wasn't me. I ran up and they were like, oh, this is an interesting combo.
that
Let's
game.
see what it does. And I was like,
Oh, really? I guess.
just the
Trust you to know the wonky stuff.
Well, yeah. It's like if I'm messaging Mickey at internationals half the time, it's like, what are you cooking? Leak. Because that's all. That's like I like weird interactions. That's my shit in League of Legends. All right, Cabo Shard, Targamas, Unstoppable duo.
Yeah, don't do it against us, please. You guys will be too good at it.
Next one comes in from Andre
Senna.
Morrow. Considering the 2019 legacy, Wunder became the undivable king, Mikyx the ingenious strategist. How did... Yeah, this is...
When did that happen?
I don't know. This is this person's perspective on this. I was like, I definitely didn't make those narratives. Mine were King Dynasty Legacy, which we all know are great.
They were.
How did Yankos end up being the guy who farts and misses spears? How in this year... Which is a fair question. How in this year of success... where you guys like did everything. I feel like, how did Yankos end up with the shortest end of the stick in terms of like fan perception? The number one narrative was not, this is the guy who won MSI. This is the guy. It was like, this is the guy who can't hit a niddly spear.
I mean, I think there's positives and negative narratives, right? Like, I'm also the WoW player.
Yeah,
and like
yeah,
all
yeah.
of this stuff, right? I think Yankos, I mean, what would be positive about him? He's like the he's like the River Volibear.
Oh, River Volibear. That's pretty
The first blood king.
The first
that's
blood
that's like that
That's
has
a
kind of
classic.
stuck with him like throughout time, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, Yankos,
Yeah.
I mean, how does he get like a lot of negatives? Probably because he's like a big streamer, right? And he gets like his whole chat is like,
Yeah.
I think it's kind of his thing. They're just like rooting against him
People like
in
that
a fun way.
And he's plays better in the league.
And yeah, I mean, he
That
should not be
contributes.
playing. He should not be playing Italy. I mean, yeah. So I guess that's like
I
those two
remember
things.
the game where he was like ganking top and then he missed Cougar form Q.
Oh yeah, that happened. Yeah, that was kind of interesting.
Yeah. Anyway.
Do we want to bonus Q? One sentence, Mickey, because we got a couple other questions. Solo leveling the anime thoughts.
Oh, it's really insane.
Yeah, figured that would be So solo leveling out now. If you haven't listened, what is it called? Is it a light novel? What is it? What is the original? Before it was a anime. What was it?
A manhwa, I think.
Whatever.
There's a Korean show or like Korean comic.
Whatever. If you haven't read the comic,
Anyway, yeah.
whatever. Regardless, anime's out. It's hype.
I don't watch it.
That's okay.
You should though.
Real quick side question. Do you do anything? What do you watch?
I watch a lot of series. I mean, okay, I'm not like a hater of
No. Yeah.
Japanese stuff. Like I watch
You're not?
Shogun.
No.
Shogun.
Okay, well, sure.
I've heard it's good.
You
I wanna
haven't
watch
watched
it. I read the
Shogun?
book.
It's. I mean, I like Japanese samurai stuff. I just don't like animated stuff that much.
Ooh, I will say.
Okay.
Speaking of animated stuff and also Japan, like feudal era Japan stuff, Blue-Eyed Samurai
so
on
good.
Netflix
It's
is
very
fire.
good.
It is animated. It's not like necessarily anime
Yeah,
style.
okay, I'm gonna pass that one. Man.
You guys could watch it together, best friends forever. Come on, make
You
it
know,
work.
in
definitely more
2017, whenever
adult.
I was watching anime on the TV, he came and turned it off every once in a while.
Yeah, it's true. It did happen.
Yeah, you're pretty. I remember you're pretty big on calling everything and other people did cringe. You're just like, nah, that's
Yeah.
Wonder Harry at Sue Harry, little panda emoji, wants to know what is Wonder's secret to not mental booming when getting camped? He's one of the few top laners that I feel like can still make plays even when behind. What's your secret? You got absolutely just obliterated.
I have
in
no
that fanatic.
secret. My mental is always boomed.
That is the secret. Just
If you
perpetually
play-
in shambles.
If you play League of Legends for a living, your mental is probably not where it should be.
Yeah.
That's
You're just
I think
taking the
everyone's
entire community down with you.
and I think for me it's more true than anyone else.
All right,
And I have accepted it. It's the acceptance. That's a good thing. If you get camped, just accept it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take it for what it is.
Yep.
Freddie wants to know favorite memory with each other. And how have you changed over the years from each other's perspective? Like what do you think is different about it? This is a pretty deep question. There's more here. Freddie has
I've
a lot of
gotten
questions.
worse.
Mickey, do you
I
agree that
guess
he's
that's the
gotten
biggest
worse?
difference.
Yeah. I don't know. Do you guys feel like different people? I think it's always hard to recognize how people next to you have changed when you see each other so regularly. Is
Not
there
really.
like anything different?
We also do see each other quite often, I guess. So I guess it's always been the same.
Yeah. I don't know how much has changed, but a favorite memory? I mean, a lot of my favorite memories is like winning, right? So like winning MSI or something like that.
Yeah.
I guess.
I guess like going to Worlds 2016 for the first time was like kind of good memory. But I don't know if there's like an exact event
Yeah.
of like something we did together besides like lifting a trophy. That was like a favorite memory of mine.
I got one.
Okay.
Oh, but it's not allowed. You can't share.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe I can. Well,
Oh.
basically, it was just that
There's only one way to find out.
when I didn't want to resign, you all said you're not going to resign.
Oh,
That was
we're
my
in it
favorite memory.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude. Band of
was
brothers. I respect that.
Well, it kind of.
You were telling us.
and Vicky went back to G2 anyways. So thank you, Vicky. I thought we were in this together. What happened to that?
My bad. I couldn't go same direction, so I was getting a little bit held back.
Yeah.
Jailed.
No, jail.
No, I'm not going to follow that one up. I'm going to get a message from somebody's manager if we keep the jailed discussion going. All right, man. Thanks for sharing, guys. I want to do something a little bit different. So I forgot and didn't even think about next week coming into this. I was so focused on looking back in the past. But you guys are playing each other, as we mentioned earlier in the episode. Your third game. Have you guys ever watched an LCK Trash Talk interview? I know the answer is yes. The question is, can you guys just roast each other for 2 minutes? You've never seen the LCK Trash Talk interviews? They like feed them like pre-scripted lines like,
Oh.
I'm going to make his
like,
Aatrox look
they still do
useless. I don't know if they still. I think maybe they just actually
I
let them
remember it, like,
trash
a few
talk each
years
other
ago,
now.
but-
They're not as, I think, scripted as they used to be. Or the players have gotten to be better actors. I can't really tell which one it is. But can you just like roast each other's teams a little
Roast
bit?
Actually,
G2?
Before I have a better memory, actually.
Okay,
we
wait.
played charades. Actually, that was the funniest thing when he did the dog impression.
Oh yeah.
I think that was my favorite memory ever.
Can we get a Can we get the dog impression?
No. I mean, it has to be like played out completely. Like, that's.
Don't worry,
too
we're gonna
much,
play
yeah.
charades at some point.
We'll play charades at some point. We'll see. We'll just like literally everything in the bucket. We'll say dog, and it's just for Wunder.
Oh, I got it again. Guys.
How did it happen?
You need to shuffle this, guys.
Lassie 2? What?
Any like hyperbolic trash talk that we can clip out of context? And
I mean, the thing is, right? It's like kind of hard to trash talk G2. I mean, if you trash talk G2, you have to kind of go like, you lost to NRG, you know.
Yeah.
And besides that, I mean, it's kind of. I mean, I guess like the only other thing I have is, I mean, I got subbed in for Fnatic with 1 week of practice, and your top laner was 50 CS down every single game.
Still lost.
Still lost. So this is my trash talk, right? So what can I do, right? Like, what can I do?
That was great trash talk. I wish you had just like you like pulled back on it. I wish you just full said that. Yeah, that was a good run. We should have asked about that. Damn it. That was a good run. I was impressed. I was very surprised. There's that fight in mid lane where you just like they tried to engage and you just immediately flash stunned enemy AD, and we were like, he just won the game.
Yeah.
But people were like, Wunder looks useless this series, blah blah blah.
You know, he XD'd me in all chat when he killed me once.
I did, yeah.
And Caps, when he killed him only one with Yon, he wrote little bro or something.
Yeah. Sit down, little bro. Like, something, I don't know.
Because Caps never ever writes to anyone. The only time he ever wrote in all chat was against Iankos when we played Heretics, and he Maokai W'd him, and then Caps flashed on the tower with Cassio, and then W'd him and got a kill, and he just wrote thanks. And then the other time was against Wunder.
Yeah. Little bro. He little bro.
Bro, you have to hit him back. You can't let Caps little bro you. He's the littlest bro.
Yeah. No, it's okay. It's okay. He can get that one. I mean, what else can be trash talk? I mean, like, honestly.
Mickey, you have anything to fire back? You have a lot more. You have a position of power. You kind of. I don't want you to go too hard here. But
He's
you
too nice.
He's not too nice. He's too nice on the podcast.
I can't kick someone who's already down.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, that's my stance.
Always get back up. That's the G2. Like, get back up.
True, yeah.
All right, boys. Well, thank you for coming on. We're gonna do one other match that's hype, just so you guys can predict something that's not your own. I'm gonna say Fnatic versus G2. Wunder, you think Fnatic take it? I don't care what you think, Mickey.
Fnatic G2?
That's the last game on Sunday, our second day.
I mean, honestly, I think Fnatic has. I mean, I think they have like for sure the
best chance,
the chance of beating G2. I mean, I think every team has a chance of beating G2,
They
but they have like
they lost the Heretics though.
they have like shown also last bit that they can. I mean, they had like a close series against G2, right? They have good early games. I think generally, if you want a chance against G2, you probably can't be like very far behind because they also do play like well, right? So Fnatic they can match them. Like they can win. I mean, they can win potentially every single lane, so I can see them winning. But I mean, it would be weird to not say G2 should win. But I'd say I give it maybe like a 30% chance Fnatic wins. That's like pretty decent.
I think the thing I'm learning is I have to wait till like Mickey's a little more like washed, and then like I'll just bring you both back when you're in the middle of the standings, and then you can really roast each other. You can just light each other up.
The thing is, even if I'm washed, I'm playing support, so it doesn't matter.
It's true. I mean, I'm just gonna say I'm not gonna name the team, but without when I was free agent in the offseason, without even having said that I was willing to go support or anything, which I was not, I was approached by certain teams that were just asking me if I was willing to play support.
That's incredible.
So the role support in Europe, Jesus Christ, you guys are down bad. I mean, okay, not for because
sounds like the role is bad, and it's team managers who are down bad right now.
I would definitely be the best support. So I'm not saying down bad because of that, right? But yeah, I mean. That role, right?
He already played a lot of Soraka, so
you've been training your entire career.
I have the reckless start effect. The Janna.
What do you think, Rob? You think BDS Team Heretics? What should we ask Mickey to predict?
Ooh.
Which are the Team Heretics games? I mean, obviously he can't predict the first one, so it's SK or BDS?
I'm more interested in taking BDS.
Yeah, Team Heretics for BDS. Is your boy taking it?
Oh.
Are you taking it? Let me see. They play game 1 G2. So you're gonna get demoralized. You play BDS.
Then you play SK second.
Okay, then you're gonna get. Okay, yeah, you're gonna win.
Because was he also beating SK?
The momentum.
Yeah, they're beating SK.
They're beating SK. The momentum.
That is why BDS went 0-2 because like
week.
game 1 demoralized, game 2 it was a rough one, and then
I mean 2-1 week with a week G2 is in. I mean, it could be worse, right?
Yes.
I would hopefully see it as a 3-0 week. But if there's a week we should go 2-1, I think G2 is probably the best team. I mean, not probably. I mean, they won the split and they are also 3-0 right now. So
we were the best team on 14.2. It's a different patch, so you know
That's
you could be the
guys-
best on 14.5.
Yeah, I mean, I think we might very well be.
Yeah.
We'll see next week.
That's true.
Or this week, I guess.
This week, 14.5 hotfix. I think. Are we confirmed?
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
You never
100%.
know.
I'm always hesitant because like someone I've like forget to ask. I was gonna try to make a reason. I was like, I forget to double check with the people whose decision it is because they're usually not online when this podcast starts. My bad. It'll be the hotfix will be there. I'm gonna say it. Full team. I'm pretty sure teams had to vote. Teams voted yes on the hotfix. Hotfix comes in. Not enough to stop Smolder, but it will be interesting to see. So good luck, guys. May
Thank you.
whoever has the more banger draft win. I don't care about the better team. I just want entertainment. You know,
All right.
no bias.
Okay.
So I'll vote for whoever has the more banger draft.
I respect that.
Yeah. That's all that I want. Rob, any closing thoughts before we send these boys home?
No, I'm just looking forward to seeing you two face off against each other. Should be a banger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
Me too.
not a one-sided storm.
I hope so too. Give us a chance.
I'll try my best.
Ban Smolder.
I'll try my best to
Please
go
ban Smolder.
0-4 and come back.
All right, waiting for another 04 comeback. This has been Euphoria episode 7, week 2, starting on Saturday. It kicks off with SKBDS. G2 vs Team Heretics is the third game of the day. Tune in, check it out, and we'll see you next week for more.